Thank you.
Okay. Right. Okay. So we are about to go live on YouTube now. And as we go live on YouTube, we will start our session. Okay. So today's going to be more of an interactive session, as I mentioned before, for various reasons. So one reason is obviously we're going to get your presentations in first. And today's Islamic studies session, I've decided to change it because Eid is coming up this week. And I want all the students that are with us either on Zoom or on YouTube to talk to me about what they're going to do for Eid and how you're going to spend Eid during the coronavirus lockdown. Are you planning on breaking the social distancing rule, or are you planning on following the rules? And also, what does Islam say about all of this situation? And secondly, what the science is saying as well. So that's what I want to talk about. Is that okay for those of you who are on Zoom? Does that sound good enough for today's lesson? Right,
Yeah.
Hussein is saying my mic isn't enabled. Let me have a look.
Ustadh Hamid, can I just can you check if Zahra's on here? Because if she's not, then I don't really want to do it without her, because it wasn't
Oh
just
no,
me and
seriously?
Ibrahim who did it.
Are you there right now? Fizza, are you still there?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Because if she's not on here, then I don't want to do it without her, because it wasn't just me and Ibrahim who did it.
Okay, so I will check. So Zahra's not on here now. She might be on YouTube. So Zahra, if you're on YouTube, please do let me know if you're on YouTube so I can maybe get you on here somehow as well. Okay, is that fine? So to the viewers who are joining us now, we are going to wait a few minutes before we begin our presentations. If you don't have any presentations, then I'll begin my few questions I have regarding Eid and celebrations for this year. So Fizza, have you uploaded your presentation on the website?
Not yet, Ustad. I'm just saving it and I'm gonna upload it. Can you just choose, if Zahra's here, can you just choose us to be last? If you don't mind.
I can do that. That's fine. Yes, Hussein, your hand is up. Please do speak now. Enable your mic.
So what I did was I noted the homework down on a piece of paper, and then I lost that piece of paper, so I forgot about the homework.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine. That's not a problem at all. I am going to do a different subject today just because of Eid coming up this week. Okay, anyone else? Anyone else there right now? Okay, so let's start with our session, inshallah. Last week we spoke a bit about the Constitution of Medina, very, very briefly. And I wanted students to present if they have a presentation ready. If not, we can leave it for another time, but we can't promise if it's going to be on a session because we do have other sessions booked up for other things. Okay, so is there anyone else who would like to present anything? So Fizza, looks like, yes.
I can't see you.
You can't, why can't you see me?
Zahra, sorry, let me just upload the PowerPoint. See you now.
Who's that talking?
It's me.
Oh, okay. How are you today, me?
Good.
You are frozen.
I am frozen. Can you see me now? Can you hear me?
You're frozen, Ustadh.
We can hear you, but we can't see you. Like, you're frozen.
Oh, that's quite interesting, isn't it? Well, everything looks fine at my end.
Yeah.
It also looks fine on YouTube as well. So I don't know what the case is. Yep. I look very unfrozen on YouTube because I can see myself right now on Zoom and also on YouTube. Okay, anyway, so what I'll do, I'll quickly do a bit of a summary of the Constitution of Medina, and a very, very short summary because we are going to do another lesson on it in full detail. But for today, a very short summary, maybe 5-10 minutes, and then I'll move on to coronavirus, something that I wanted to talk about to the students who join us every week, and for those who join us on YouTube. So in regards to the Constitution of Medina, as we are aware that when Prophet ﷺ was in Mecca, the Muslims had a very difficult time. After Prophet ﷺ openly began to call people towards the oneness of Allah and to calls towards Islam and to follow his ways and to believe in him as a prophet and to follow his ways because he is the final prophet, it no longer became easy for them to live in Mecca. So we hear about different migrations that take place. So there's a number of migrations that took place of the Sahaba to Abyssinia, which today we know by Ethiopia. So many Sahaba went there. At the same time, when Prophet ﷺ used to, call people towards Islam, he would look at every opportunity possible for him in order to call people towards Islam. So one such opportunity was the Hajj period, that people from all over Arabia, even outside of Arabia, would come to perform Hajj, and he would go out and meet various groups and tribes who had traveled together in various caravans that had come from far and wide. So as we hear that there's lots of caravans that came from Medina, and ultimately he began speaking to them, and a number of them accepted Islam. They go back to Medina and they begin spreading Islam and the words of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Medina. And ultimately there is this number of Muslims begins to grow in Medina, and they ultimately, after some years, invite Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to migrate to Medina for a number of reasons. So firstly, to obviously promote Islam and to spread Islam and to propagate Islam, but also the people of Medina are divided and they're fighting amongst themselves. Hence, there is a lack of peace in Medina and they are wanting this peace. And ultimately what happens is they want also Prophet ﷺ to come as a mediator or arbitrator who comes and solves the problems of the people of Medina. So in Medina, you have various tribes. You have the famous Aus and Khazraj tribes, which are the Arab tribes, but you have many, many more other than them as well. And then you have many sub-tribes under the Aus and Khazraj. And also we have many we have the Jews as well. So there were many Jews, and I spoke about the destruction of the Second Temple in one of my lectures, but I mentioned again that most of the Jews, they lived in what's today's Palestine, lived alongside everyone else. And what happened was, and they were ruled by the Romans at the time. During the time of Isa alayhi salam. And when Isa alayhi salam came, he came with a message of spirituality, because at the time the rabbis, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the various different types of the Jewish authority, they were very fixated with the law, that it became devoid of the spiritual aspect. And one of the reasons why Isa alayhi salam came was to, emphasize the spiritual aspect of faith. Ultimately, they disagreed and they tried to kill, they tried, and I'm saying this very emphasizing that they tried to crucify or have Isa alayhi salam crucified by the authorities who were Roman at the time. And what happened was they were unsuccessful. I mean, for them, it seemed like that they crucified Isa alayhi salam. But according to Islamic texts and the Quran, it's very clear, وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُم, that they did not kill him and neither did they crucify him, but it was made to seem as though. Okay, so coming back to the point, so what happened was, after Isa alayhi salam was lifted up into the heavens, there was rebellion that took place in Palestine, in Jerusalem. And many of the Jews started a revolution, and they started rising up against the colonizers of the time, who were the Romans. And the Romans were quick to suppress that revolution. And one of the things that the Romans did in retaliation was they went and destroyed the Second Temple, and they broke it down brick by brick. And as a result of that, many of the Jews who were living there or around there, they went out into exile, into all over the world. And a large number of those Jews came into Hijaz. Some of them tribes also settled in Medina, and they were living on the outskirts of Medina. So when it comes to the constitution, it's a very important document, okay? And this document was ultimately written out in someone's home, because at that time, the building of Masjid al-Nabawi hadn't been erected yet. So remember, this was the very first thing, one of the most important first things Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did, and that was written down in the constitution. What is part of that constitution? I'm not going to get into that today. That's why I wanted you to research it. So we're going to give you more time to do that research. We will go into that in another lesson, but I'm going to just talk around it very briefly. What the summary of that is, that look, we as the residents of Medina are all considered one ummah. Okay, and that included all the different tribes, the Muslims, the non-Muslims, and the Jews. But as long as you sign this constitution, you sign this document, and after having signed it, we are all one in defending Medina. Okay, and there were a few things. Some of the important points were that, for example, if there is a problem amongst the Jewish people, or people of the Jewish faith, they will solve their own problems. Okay, that was one thing. If there's a problem amongst a certain tribe, they will solve their problem amongst themselves. If, however, if it's a problem between them, then they will come to us to solve that problem. And at the same time, if the people of the Jewish faith, that both of the people who are having a problem want to get it solved by us, they are free to do so. And also another very important part of the document was that if someone wants to so the other important point was that if somebody attacks Medina, if someone attacks Medina, then all of the people who signed this document have to defend Medina. Okay, and also another thing was, if even one tribe is attacked in Medina, everyone will defend that tribe. Everyone will get together and defend. And that was a pact that was signed off by the Muslims and the non-Muslims and the Jews. And that's why later on, when we hear about the Battle of Khaybar, the Battle of the Trenches, when Muslims were attacked, there were many tribes amongst the Jews, not all of them, but a number of tribes, and I believe it was Khazraj, one of them, that they were the ones who, during the battle, they moved back from the treaty, and that is a major incident, and that's why the Muslims fought against him at the time. So there was a lot of this happening at the time. But the interesting thing is that everyone was included in that document, and they were described as Ummah. And even the Jews were described as the Ummah alongside the Ummah of the Muslims. So yes, they were seen as a people and recognized, and their law was recognized for themselves. So even the texts and the Talmud, as Muslims, when they were ruling the state of Medina, they very fully recognized the Jewish law and recognized the Jewish law as valid for the Jewish people themselves. And they had the freedom, absolute freedom, to practice the law and apply Jewish law amongst the Jewish people. Okay, so there were a number of these things. So I'm not going to tell you everything, because I want you to go out and read. I want you to have the passion to look further in the Constitution of Medina. One point, however, is some people say that the Constitution of Medina, and this is why I focused on this, that the Constitution of Medina is weak. Okay, the chain of narrators is not there. It is mentioned in Hisham or Ibn Ishaq, but it's not mentioned with the full chain. But later on, when academics look closely at the actual text of the document, what they say is that, look, because of the archaic style of the language and because of the way that it's written, with the olden Arabic, it's not really possible for it to have been doctored or made up later on, because of the manner of the Arabic language and the how archaic it is in the document itself. So that's an important thing to remember, that there is a debate on how authentic the document is, but I think a lot of academics, they doubt it being inauthentic, and that's because of the language that is used in the writing of the text. Jazakallah, Sister Shahana, Sister Usada Shahana, saying that she can see me on YouTube. Yeah, I think sometimes, even since Sunday, Zoom is playing up slightly, but not to worry, you can see me on YouTube, and I think most students can see me on Zoom as well. So just for now, the students who are here, do you have any questions about this or anything to add to this about the Constitution of Medina? Okay, because we are going to move on to talking about the coronavirus and Eid. And the important question that we've been asking is, to meet or not to meet your family this Eid? That is the question. That is the question that we're going to ask. But I think to go beyond that, we want to ask a very important question, and that is, what do we then do? So if we are in lockdown, which we should be in lockdown, how do we celebrate Eid? We want to come up with creative ideas and share those ideas for those who are on YouTube and those who are on Zoom. And I really, really want every single person who has joined us right now to give us ideas on what to do during this Eid. We are going to talk about the fiqh of the Eid prayer this Friday. So do tune in on Friday with Mufti Hilal, inshallah. So that's that. Secondly, yeah, so I think if there's no more questions, I think I will stop talking about the Constitution of Medina for now, because I do want students themselves to do a bit of research. We don't want to give everything here. There are lots of videos on YouTube that you can watch as well. And I think a good one is by Dr. Yasir Qadi. I watched a bit of it. I didn't get time to watch all of it, but that is a very good video. So a video by Dr. Yasir Qadi, because I think his one is very balanced. It's very, very balanced the way he's done it, and it's academically well done as well. So that's that. Any questions? Yes, I
Ustadh
heard.
Hamid,
Yep.
can I quickly say something?
Of course you can.
You know when you're talking about Yasir Qadi, he does a series. So every day he does a first juz. So his aim was to summarize the whole Quran in Ramadan. I think it's really, really, really good, and I would encourage everybody watching it. And also, there's another series is called the Angel series. I'll share the link because I'm not quite sure who it's by.
Yeah.
Something. It's like 2 to 3 minute videos, and they're so informational and so amazing. Can I share the link in the chat for
Of course you can. So if you share the link on Zoom chat, I will then share it on YouTube as well for everyone to look at as well. So alhamdulillah, yeah. So, and remember, we're going to share it. It's up to you to listen if you have time. And if you have other scholars that you are well aware of, please go ahead with those and share them on our comments. We'll be happy to share them out. Anyone else? Anyone else have a question?
Ustadh Hamid. It's no question, but my mum just today she finished the whole Quran.
MashaAllah, that is fantastic. That's great.
Well, she didn't just do it in the whole day, but she did it like throughout Ramadan and a little bit before that.
Right.
Just
okay.
Ramadan, actually.
Oh, that's good. That's brilliant. MashaAllah. That's fantastic. Can we all have a virtual MashaAllah?
MashaAllah.
Okay, good.
MashaAllah.
Okay, brilliant.
MashaAllah.
And may Allah give us all the ability to act upon this, and may Allah give us all the ability to do as much of this as possible. Yep. Okay. I'm just going to wait for a few seconds just to check everything's okay on YouTube.
Yep.
And whether we're still connected. Yeah, we're still connected on YouTube. Okay. Right. Let's move on for now. Okay. So what I wanted to talk about, so alhamdulillah, we have enough people on YouTube as well to talk about this. What we're going to talk about now is coronavirus and the lockdown during Eid. Okay, so what are we going to do during Eid? We've never been in a situation like this before. So what should we be doing for Eid? That is the question. And as I mentioned before, to meet or not to meet your family this Eid, that is the question. And it can get very, very tricky. And that's what we want to talk about. And that's what we want to discuss. The trickiness and what kind of situation we might find ourselves in this Eid. Okay. Now, and the second thing we're going to talk about after that is some creative ideas for those of us who are in lockdown, and everyone should be in lockdown during Eid. What should we do during Eid? What different things can we do during Eid? And I want everyone, and that's on YouTube or on Zoom, to give some idea of what you might be doing. So maybe you've already discussed it with your family. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you've got an idea. Do discuss it here with us, and we can share it with all our Fatima Elizabeth from Tistery family. Okay, so we've got 30 minutes, and I want to finish all of this on time today. Okay, so the first thing is the different types of people that would be out there today. Okay, there's going to be 2 or 3 different types of people. There's going to be those who are observing social distance, and they're staying in, you know, either their home or wherever they are, and they're not coming into you know, contact with anyone else, and that anyone else includes people of your own family, right? And the way to look at it is, we've got to imagine as though we already have the virus. So if you know, and if everyone thinks they already have the virus, then would you go close to another person? No. So we've got to treat this situation as though we already have the virus. And when it comes to science, the authorities, and we're talking about WHO, right? So WHO, World Health Organization. And also more local to us is the NHS, the National Health Services. So they obviously recognize that this is a virus, it's true, it's happening. Why would it change the world so much? Some people think it's propaganda, some think it's a hoax. For them, my answer is, you have 2 situations. One is that you are going to stay home, you are going to apply social distancing, right? So that's good. The other option is that you are not going to apply social distancing this Eid, and you're going to go and visit other family members. Now, out of those 2 options, with the first option, where you're going to apply social distancing and you're going to stay in your own house, you are applying the option that is safe for you and your family, right? It's safer. The other option is where you believe that it's not true and you're going to mix with others. It's the unsafe option, where you are putting the risk of your health and the health of your family at risk. Now, those are the 2 options out there, right? There's no option in the middle. It's either you are risking your family, and then you are not risking your family. And what each and every one of us needs to think about is, which one am I? Am I someone who is going to put my family at risk because of my emotions? Because emotionally, I don't feel that, because emotionally, I feel I need to celebrate Eid and go out there and meet everyone, right? So every single person needs to answer that question deeply inside, right? There's 2 situations. Either your family is safe or they're unsafe. And that is because of you. And that's mainly the parents that I'm speaking to here. That do you want to put your children at risk? Then by all means, go outside, because then you're not only putting your own children at risk, you're putting the children of other family members at risk as well, right? And it's critical. This is very, very important, because there may be some family members who don't understand all of this that much.
Come.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so coming back, so we have Asadullah Ansari joining us as well. So Yellow Moss, welcome here. Do follow him on YouTube. He has his own YouTube channel, which is about gaming, which is maybe not so good, but there you go. I've said it out there. But anyway, coming back to the point. So each and every one of us has a choice, right? And just for argument's sake, okay, I don't believe this anyway, but just for argument's sake, just say this virus is propaganda. It is over exaggerated. Just say, for argument's sake, that this coronavirus is propaganda. For argument's sake, I don't believe that. I believe it's real and it's happening, and I'll explain why as well. So just say it is propaganda. Even then, no one is 100% sure. Even you, if you believe that it's propaganda, even you are not 100% sure. So even in that doubtfulness, right, you're either safe or you're unsafe. And if you are confident enough, right, if you are confident enough to say that, look, I am confident it's so much propaganda, I will put my children's life at risk. I'm ready to put my children's life at risk, and I'm ready to put the life of other children's at risk as well. If you have that much confidence, then personally, I feel sorry for you. I do. And I feel that this does somewhat fall under safeguarding. I really do. And even when it's coming, and I'm going to share my feelings here, okay? This may not represent what Fatima Elizabeth Fontistri is saying, but I'm going to share my feelings that even when it comes to the government wanting to reopen schools for reception year 1 and year 6, think it's a despicable move. And and I think we're risking children's lives. And if our government does care about safeguarding of children so much, where is the safeguarding of children from this virus today? And not just the children, okay? Not just the children, but if they catch the virus, it doesn't affect them. They can take it home. And remember, a lot of us Muslims, Asians live in extended families. So we have lots of elderly who live with us. Those children will go home, okay? And it could potentially spread to our elderly, and especially not just the elderly, but also those who have other underlying problems. So those who are diabetic, who have heart problems, breathing problems, or respiratory problems, different types of problems can all be affected and could ultimately die as a result of this, right? So for me, even the government's trying to open the schools on the 1st of June, for me, is a problem. Okay, and as Muslims, it is our duty, it is a principle that we need to do whatever we can to protect life, to protect life. And the Quran is very, very clear on this. The Quran is so clear. The Quran says that if you kill one person, it's though you have killed the whole of humanity. It's as though you have killed everyone. And if you save one person's life, it's as though you have saved everyone's life. Okay, so this for me is very clear, right? Remember, you have two options. You either save your family's health or you put it at risk. Who are you going to be this Eid? That's my question for parents, and that's my question for students as well. I think this is something we need to take seriously. We need to put our emotions aside and take this very seriously. We need to do this. Okay, do not enter the homes of your family members. Do not enter the, and my family themselves are guilty of this. My own family is guilty of this, and this message goes out to them very specifically as well, that do take this seriously. And I will explain why when it comes to Islam as well, why it's our Islamic it's fard upon us to do this. Yes, Dania, you've got your mic on. Would you like to say something?
What I wanted to say was, are we going to open the madrasa up?
Very good question. I'm just going to mute you now and answer your question. Can I mute you now? Yep. Okay, so Dania, we're definitely not going to start our madrasa on the 1st of June. Okay. One of the reasons why if you noticed, we were actually very quick to close down the madrasa as well. We closed down our madrasa even before the government went out to close down the schools. And we feel that the government was very, very slow in their lockdown. And it's important that we, all of us, are critical. We are critical minded. We educate ourselves in order to look through all these WhatsApp messages that we get. Some people, they believe every WhatsApp message, or they believe in all these conspiracy theories. And it's a shame, I think, right? Yes, there may be elements of truth in certain conspiracy theories, but are we going to believe that this virus, let's talk about this virus, is hoax, is fake? No, right? It has happened before on many occasions, many occasions, during the time of the Sahaba, right? During the time of the Sahaba, the plague, the second wave of the plague of Justinian took place. Up to 25,000 Muslims died. This is just after Prophet ﷺ's death, right? When the Muslim armies were going to the Byzantine Empire to fight wars, they reached a place called Amwas. And at that place, people started contracting this virus, and many Sahaba died. Okay, a huge number of Muslim soldiers in the army died as a result of it, until there was one Sahabi whose name was Amr ibn al-As radiyallahu anhu. He applied social distancing amongst the army. So he said, as we walk in the valleys and as we camp out, there needs to be a distance between people. And Amr ibn al-As radiyallahu anhu stated that that these plagues are like wildfires. They're like fires. They spread, okay? And if we can make these distances between us, it will ensure that those viruses or the plague does not spread. Okay, this is from a Sahabi, regardless. Okay, you may have people who say, look, oh, take black seed oil or take so and so thing from the hadith. The hadith says this, or that's absolutely fine. But Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu, at that point and moment, he didn't say take black seed oil. He didn't say take sanama. He didn't say that. What was the applied wisdom of Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu at the time? It was social distancing. Okay, remember to take these ointments, black seed oil, any other medication, sanamaki, all that is good, is very good, because it's from the sunnah. Okay, but at the same time, when Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is teaching us, he's also teaching us to take the best medication of the period that we live in. That is also a message from Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But yes, apply all of that. But when it comes to plagues, it's a different situation. For those of us who say that we follow the Sahaba and their methodology, this is key to understand from that incident. And then after that, that's when the deaths started reducing. It was after that social distancing that took place during the time of Sahaba, during the time of the early period of Islam, after Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's death. That's when the numbers began to reduce. Okay, so I've got 2 questions on Zoom, which I'm going to answer. Remember, you can throw in your questions now. Ustadh, my laptop is not working very well, so bear with me, please. The PowerPoint might come late. That's absolutely fine. I think we may not have time for the PowerPoint anyway, so we'll leave that until our next session. So don't worry, Fiza and Ibrahim. A question from Yellow Moss. So Asadullah Ansari, off-topic question, but what was the virus shown in Ertugrul? I wish I could ask that question, Asad, but I haven't watched Ertugrul. I've watched maybe 1.5 seasons. I could not take it anymore after that. It was too much for me, time-wise. So I haven't watched enough of Ertugrul to give an answer of what happened then. Okay, but important thing that you brought that up, because what that does tell us is that plagues have been happening and taking place throughout human history. To now call it a propaganda, that is key. Right, the Spanish flu only happened about 100 years ago. Right, millions of people died. The Black Death, everyone knows about. Right, the worst plague ever to hit us. Many Muslims died in that. Okay, so it's not a hoax, it's not a propaganda. England is worst hit country in Europe. We're the hotspot of this virus, unfortunately, in Europe. How can we talk about easing the lockdown? That's my question. When it comes to school, so another question, another point I have is the people in Parliament, they want schools to go back to normal. Okay, I have a suggestion, and which has come up on many memes as well. Yes, let schools go back to normal when the Houses of Parliament come back to normal. So when you see, Prime Minister's question, when you see that all the members of Parliament are sitting down next to each other, okay, in the Houses of Parliament, only then should they be able to say, and only then should they be given the right to say schools should go back to normal. Okay, that schools should reopen. Why put our children at risk when they themselves are not putting themselves at risk in the Houses of Parliament? And this is my contention here with the government, that in the House of Parliament you have social distancing going on. How on earth can we expect children, nursery, how can they be upheld to apply social distancing at school? Okay, and not only that, it endangers the teachers who are going to be in close proximity with the children as well. And not only that, the children, if there is the virus spreading even amongst themselves, if they go back home, they have elderly, it will spread there as well. The philosopher MMA has put down a point on YouTube, which I will bring up now as well. Yes, Hussein, you can do homework for next week, that's fine. The philosopher is saying, even at the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, when there was a plague, he remembered the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he said not to visit that place and people of that place shouldn't come out of there. Yeah, so well done, philosopher MMA. Just to bring that hadith into context as well, that Umar radiallahu anhu, that whole debate about running from the qadr of Allah towards the qadr of Allah, it was in that plague of Justinian, or the plague of Amwas that I was talking about regarding Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu, because initially it was Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah radiallahu anhu who did not apply social distancing, and that's where the debate started. And where Umar radiallahu anhu told them not to go into a certain town because of the plague. And that's where he was questioned, that, look, are you running away from the qadr of Allah? And he said, no, I'm running from the qadr of Allah towards the qadr of Allah. And I don't want to get into that debate. I'll talk about that too much. But yes, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you find out about a town or place or city where there is the plague, the people who are living in that town should not leave the town. And Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, people who are outside of the town should not enter the town. We now have a lot more understanding of how viruses work and plagues work, and the best way at the moment is a lockdown and social distancing, which we need to apply. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't go outside to exercise, go on your bike, but apply social distancing. Be at some meters apart from each other. Okay, that's the key thing. And then when you come back home, so whilst you're out, don't touch your face or your nose or your eyes. Okay, try your best not to do that. When you do come back home, wash your hands straight away for at least 20 seconds. So do go out on your bikes, do exercise, but even there, apply social distancing. That is key. So if you're going out, even in shops, they've got those distances out there, apply those social distances, right? The government at the moment themselves are saying that, people shouldn't go to other people's homes to visit. Why break that? Yes, a question from Fizza.
Ustadh Hamid, can I quickly say something?
You can.
Also, when they had that meeting about saying you can go out for exercise more than 1 hour a day, I think people are really they're just treating it as a joke now, because I have never seen so many people go out to exercise in my life.
Oh, is it? How many people are you seeing exercise?
Apparently, loads more beforehand.
But what's key is, as long as they are at a social, that the distance, they should be distance apart. If they are doing that, then that's fine. They shouldn't all be in one place.
Yeah, and also I wanted to add on to what you were saying before. It's bad enough that they're making us as children. I know, as being little at myself, that I don't like social distancing. I just absolutely hate it. And it's not helping the children, saying when they're at school now they can't even they can't hug each other, whereas for some people they'll treat that really sadly. With my school, if we are planning to go back, they're saying children will have to mark their own books. Teachers can't mark, they'll give them verbal praise and they'll have to write it in their book. It's not gonna help, where they're gonna get why, especially younger children,
but
why
Fizza, can I cut you out for a few seconds and then you can come back? So yes, I read that somewhere about teachers will not be touching your books, right? Your exercise books.
Yeah.
So that means they won't have to mark your work in your exercise books, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you know who's going to be happy about that?
The teachers.
Absolutely, yes. They won't have to mark your work. I remember when I was a teacher in secondary school, I had to mark about 500 books every 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Right, isn't that interesting? So back to you, Fizza. What could you finish? Could you continue the point that you were raising?
I was just saying that it's not going to help them when they realize that, especially kids who are used to, younger kids who are used to, the nursery kids, they're used to coming up and hugging the teachers. Yeah. It's not going to help by the fact you have to say to them, okay, no, you can't hug me now.
Yeah. And the fact that they are very small, imagine if you stop them, how would they feel? Right? It's going to confuse them even more. What do you think, Fizza?
It's just, yeah, exactly. It's just gonna confuse them. It's gonna be like, well, what are you doing? I'm just trying to hug you. Yeah. That kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's absolutely. It's just mean.
And what do you think about that comparison, right? That in the Houses of Parliament, our politicians, they are applying social distancing in the Houses of Parliament, but they want students to go back to schools and expect that early age group to apply social distancing?
No, I don't think that's right. I think it's not they shouldn't. It's just you can't expect that to do a 2-year-old to not come up and hug you. I think that's just a bit silly.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, it's putting the teachers at risk, it's putting the family members of each other's children's at risk as well. So yes, we need to go back to schools. It's important for that to happen. But being in England at the moment with the death rate where it still is, I mean, it's coming down, yes, but it's still high at the moment. It's still, I mean, even one death, right, is too much for us. So yes, it is coming down, but we are still having the most deaths in entire Europe. We need to rethink whether we want schools to restart again in June or not, and especially for those particular age groups and how it's going to go ahead moving on. And also, you know, thinking about the second wave, I think we need to think long term about this virus. It will take up to maybe half a decade for us to be in control of this. Maybe about up to 5 years it could take. I think it was the World Health Organization that mentioned to get full control of this virus, it will take up to 5 years. That means that emotionally, we have to think now, okay? That yes, we are in this for the long haul, and we have to make sure that we are not putting our children, our lives, and the lives of everyone else that are still alive on this planet today at risk. Okay, and I'm going to say this again, right? I'm going to say this again for all our family members and say this again for everyone, that we have two choices. Okay, you either put your family at risk or you don't put them at risk. What will you be doing this Eid? Everyone needs to ask themselves that question. Someone said to me, oh, it's a hoax and we'll find out years later. We may find out, just say it is, and we do find out. Even then, I want to be that person, I want to be that father who can say that, look, I took the precautionary route. I still wanted my children to be safe. That's why I did not go into the homes of my other family members to meet them. That's what I want to be able to say, because at this moment, it's either true or not true. And in either case, I want to, and this is what, you know what, this is what one of the arguments or similar kind of argument I try and put to the atheists, right? When the atheists say, look, we don't believe in the hereafter because we can't see it, or no one's come back from there to tell us about it. And we don't believe it because we can't see it. So one of my arguments is very basic, that look, there's one of two options. Either the hereafter is there or the hereafter is not there. Okay, and this is to atheists. So either we all die and we find out that there is no hereafter and it's this endless blackness and this void, or we all die and then we enter the hereafter. So I say to atheists, who will be in a better position at that time? A person who remains atheist and doesn't believe in the hereafter, or a person who does believe in the hereafter and accepts Islam and lives by that? So who would be in a better state? And that would be the people who believe in a hereafter. Okay, so even if Muslims just say, if they are believing in the hereafter now, and for argument's sakes for an atheist, if we find out that there is no hereafter, even then Muslims have a structure to live by, Muslims have a whole way of life to live by. And then on the other option, when we do find that there is a hereafter, then the atheists will have a lot to lose. So this is one of my arguments for atheists. Yes, anyone have a comment or something to say before we go into the last section of our session? And I hope I've made my point clear.
Ustadh.
Yes.
I'm
still Ustadh. I haven't done anything. I'm still Ustadh at the moment. I'm not Ustadha.
I mean, yeah, I know. Sorry. What I wanted to say is, I think Fizz is right. And I don't think schools should reopen. Like, would you expect children to not come and hug each other? But that's also very silly. If the government can't even social distance properly himself, that's why he went into hospital.
Ah, very good. Are you talking about our Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who actually mentioned that at the start of the lockdown, he was proudly saying, I went into hospitals and I was shaking everyone's hands. And then what happened with Boris Johnson? Unfortunately, he also contracted coronavirus and he spent some time in hospital. Now, he was strong enough to come out of it. There'll be many of us who won't be able to come out of it. I'm just giving a point there. So Jazakallah for that, Dania, as well. Anyone else want to raise a point or say anything? We have Shireen Sadak on YouTube saying, lol, that's exactly my thinking. Even if you are wrong, who will regret erring or making a mistake on the side of caution? Absolutely. Jazakallah for that, Sister Shireen. That is the point. If if we've made a mistake and everything was safe, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. But the big but is if it is, the virus and everything is there, and then we make a mistake, that mistake can cost lives. Yes, right? That mistake can cost lives. That is key. That is key that we've got to remember. Okay, now let's move on to our last bit where we want everyone to engage. Oh, Hussein, did you want to say anything? I saw your mic become enabled. So if you want to say anything,
No,
please go for it. Are you
it was
sure?
by accident. Yeah.
Okay, what do you think of my line of argument? That's what I want to hear from you, Hussein.
I think it's good because I think we should stay at home on Eid to stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Absolutely. You can, and now what we'll do, inshallah, we'll move on to our second half. We'll do this for about 10 minutes or so, seeing how long it goes, is, okay, we've now decided that we are going to stay at home, inshallah. We're not going to visit our family members and put them at risk and put ourselves at risk. So the question is, what should we do in our own homes to celebrate Eid? So the first thing about Eid Salah, Eid prayer, okay? We're going to give you details about all of that on Friday. So remember to come for your fiqh lesson on Friday, where we'll talk about Eid and how to maybe deliver the Eid Salah. What are the conditions? So I'm not going to talk about that right now, but there are ways of doing it. So just let you know. Some of you may not be able to do it because you can't meet all the conditions. Some of you will, or most of you will be able to do it because you do meet the conditions. And then we'll inshallah also go over and maybe send you details on how to pray the Eid prayer. Okay, so don't worry about that. That's coming on Friday. After the Eid prayer, what are we going to do at home? How are we going to celebrate Eid in our own homes? So I want some suggestions from those of you who are on YouTube and those of you who are on Zoom. For those on Zoom, you can verbally mention it, but also maybe type it down somewhere so we can collate all of those questions. Before I get your feedback from everyone, we've got Shahana, Ustadh Shahana saying, Shayla misses school as she is in year 6. The option makes it difficult. So Shayla, you've got to think about it. You've got to think about it. And again, there are education or teachers unions who are opposing that as well. But at the same time, if the government does go ahead with it and you're going to school, still do your best to keep yourself safe, washing your hands every so often thoroughly, not touching your face. When you're coming back, make sure you wash yourself completely as well. So yes, I can understand. That's a good point, Ustadh Shahana, about that as well. Okay, so let's move on to what are you going to be doing this Eid at home? How are you going to be celebrating your Eid?
I will be so all the presents that like we usually get on Eid from friends and family. What we've done is me and my mum have either gone round and delivered them by putting them at the doorstep and getting back in the car, or sending them in the post, and basically vice versa. The other people have also sent them in the post or come back, put it at the doorstep, and then go back in their cars.
Okay, very good. So gifting. So make sure when you are giving gifts, leave them outside and then ring the bell and kind of do what some of us used to play when we were young, when you ring the bell and run off, which is a very bad thing actually, not to be done. But in this case, you leave the gifts there, you ring the bell, and then you go off, and then you can call them from your car. So there's even not that, because sometimes what might happen is, that you might ring the bell, they'll come to the door, and whilst they open the door, you can't help yourself, and you meet. Okay, you may have some people in your family who are not fully understanding. You may have some people in your family who are mentally not fully understanding the whole situation around them, and they jump out, just say. So it's best, I think, you got your gifts, you ring the bell, so you put the gift down, you ring the bell, and then you go to your car, or leave the gift, go to your car, give them a call and say, we've left, the gifts are by the door, please collect them. So that's I think one way of doing that. Yes. Any other suggestions on how to celebrate Eid this Ramadan? So please bring your suggestions forward on YouTube or on Zoom.
Ustadh, I have another one. It's having like a Zoom call or a video call and just adding the people on it.
That's a brilliant idea. So yes, you can meet each other in the online world. So have a really big Zoom call where you can keep on adding everyone from different families, and you can be on one screen as we are today on Zoom. Absolutely, that's definitely a good idea. Dania, you want to say something now, and then we'll go to Hussein after that.
Okay. I was gonna say, just like Fizza, we can meet up in the online world. And as for the presents, well, usually I don't think my family would. Well, my parents actually would give them out. I don't know what's gonna happen with the presents in my family. I'm gonna ask my aunt later. But anyways, I think what we should do is just a party, get a few things you need, and meet up on Zoom.
Okay, so you're going to have a party and then meet up on Zoom and share that with each other. Okay, interesting, very good. Hussein, you've got your hand up. Would you like to talk now?
So to make Eid fun for children at home, you can make lots of extra Eid games to play on Eid, which will make Eid loads more fun for children.
Absolutely. So having to play Eid games, that's fantastic. That's brilliant. That's a good idea. And especially if there's lots of children, to have different types of Eid games. And again, it's going to be a difficult one for parents because, for example, with me, I have 3 children. I've got one daughter who's 11. I've got a daughter who's about 3. And then I've got another daughter who's almost is about 1.5. So for me, it's going to be so difficult to have something there, but maybe we can try and do something together, right? Maybe have a little swimming pool outside, or have some water games outside in the garden. I'm talking about, not outside. Okay. Anyone else? I want to hear what Asad's going to be doing. Oh yes, Asad, I've enabled your mic. Please let me know what Yellow Moss will be doing this Eid.
I'm not quite sure. I was gonna say, if you're quite bored, or if you have like nothing else to do,
just play PlayStation.
Yes.
Oh, is that what you're gonna say?
But you should spend time with your family.
But in your case, Yellow Moss, what the structure that I've seen is, you can do both at the same time, because in that space where you are with your family, you have your PlayStation. So, but the unfortunate thing is, you may think that you're doing both at the same time. You're multitasking, but what might happen is because of you focusing on your likes on YouTube and getting Yellow Moss out there, your back will be towards the family. So would you still say that that's considered as having that Eid celebration and having that Eid experience?
No, I think you should have like a time for both. Like have a time limit on how much you play, and then you can spend time with your family.
Okay, and coming to us as an experienced YouTuber and gamer, could no, this is a serious question. Could you suggest a time limit?
1.5
and then
hours.
What I will do, I will record that session and send it to your mom.
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
I play like 1.5 hours per day.
1.5 hours. Okay, so that's now recorded. Everyone is hearing this, and Jazakallah for your experience. I found it very, very informative. I've gained a lot of knowledge as a result of hearing your advice about gaming. So, yeah, you're most welcome. So in regards to gaming, so if you've got games, maybe you might want to have a competition with your family, get your parents onto it. So you might want to, I don't know, maybe play Pro Evolution Soccer with each other, maybe have a little league on Eid Day.
Playing with Zainab.
So you're playing with Ustadh Zainab. That's, yeah, absolutely. you might want to play other games. I'm not going to talk about violent games. We can't do that here. What was the other game that was quite famous out there that gamers play?
I'm not quite sure.
Fortnite.
Fortnite, absolutely, yes. Jazakallah, Juria, for that. So Fortnite again. I was going to say something, but I forgot. Yes, one question to Yellow Moss. As you are a gamer,
Yes.
are you finding that this lockdown is proving to be a heaven on earth?
Not really,
Why not?
because there's a specific time that I play, and then there's the rest of the time of the day, and it's quite boring.
I heard your mum saying something. Is she agreeing or disagreeing with you?
I'm not sure. I think she's talking to Safi in the back.
Okay, right. Anyway, so so I won't talk about that too much more. Asr time is going to begin soon as well. Okay, any more suggestions on what to do this Eid with your family in lockdown?
Can like safely make each other presents.
Sorry, you can make each other presents. I didn't know you do things like that, Asad. That's very kind of you.
I was giving suggestions. I might not do myself, but I can.
Okay. Okay, then I was going to ask you, because I'm your uncle, whether you were going to make a present for me and what it was going to be.
Recently, I've seen like Aisha and Mariam making these hand things where they write like a nice message inside, and they put like paper in the between. It looks like it's like a closed hand. You can open it and make like a message in the middle. I think I might make that.
MashaAllah. So you're saying have creative arts and crafts presents going on. You can have arts and crafts sessions in your house. Absolutely. This is good. Hussein wants to jump in. Yes, Hussein. What would you like to say?
You could do an Eid Kahoot quiz with your family.
You can do an Eid Kahoot quiz. So if you don't know what that is, just Google Kahoot and you will find out what that is. Okay. Yes, anyone else? The Yellow Moss is back. Yes, Yellow Moss. What would you like to say to us? Yellow Moss, are you there?
Assalamu
Walaikum salam. Yes, who is this?
It's Safi.
Oh, I thought it was the Yellow Moss. Do you have another color that is associated to you, or no? Are you like the blue moss?
Sure, we can work with that.
Okay, so blue moss. Do you have any suggestions for all our viewers who are watching us now on what to do during Eid? Because everyone's going to be in lockdown. They are not going to go and visit other family members and put them at risk. So what would you suggest that they do at home?
I think we should, like we usually do. So, for example, on every Eid, we have, we get ready to get dressed. We, make a special day of it. It shouldn't be like, we make like every other day just because we're not going out. We just, just laze around. It's like we should do something special, make something out of it. And because Eid, it is a celebration after we worked so hard for a whole month. So, inshallah, we should get together, have some family games.
What is your message to those who have decided to break the social distancing rule and go out and meet other family? What would you like to say to them?
I say that there's a thing, it's not sensible ideas, there's clear outlines, and also there will be a special, like in America, there were a lot of cases in the beginning of Ramadan, where a lot of people were waiting outside masjids to see if Muslims would go out. And
okay.
So similarly, there will be a special eye on Muslims right now, I think.
That's a very, very good point, Blue Moss, that you raised. I think it's incredibly important, something that I would like to mention. That just say, after this Eid, if the rate of deaths does increase and it shows up in the statistics, who do you think the government will make a scapegoat out of? It will be the Muslims. It's not just going to be those Muslims who broke the social distancing rules. They will blame Muslims at large. They will label all Muslims responsible for that rate going up. Would you agree with that, Blue Moss?
Yep, definitely.
Okay, and I like your point about making sure that we wear good clothes, not to leave that and just make it like any old other day. Wear your best clothing, right? It's the sunnah of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It doesn't have to be new clothes, but best clothes that you have, wear them, and then maybe to do Eid Salah together, which we're going to talk about on Friday, inshallah. And then after that, you can have what Ustadh Mariam Sadak is mentioning on YouTube, have a barbecue in the garden. Isn't that a cool idea? Maybe you want to share some of that with your neighbors as well, even if they're Muslim or non-Muslim. With social distancing, you may want to share your food with them as well. So barbecue in the garden is a good idea, absolutely. Any other suggestions coming through from anyone else who hasn't mentioned anything yet? Yes, Dania.
I accidentally pressed my mic
Oh, that's fine.
without even noticing. Maybe on the second or third day of Eid, we could have a fat party.
What party?
A fat party.
A fat party.
A fat party.
Oh, FEP. Oh, right. Yeah. FEP, and FEP. Absolutely, we could do that. We could have a massive online webinar where we can actually have up to 500 people on this webinar. We can have a FEP party on here where everyone can just come and say hello to everyone else. How does that sound?
Also, Zara is saying she can't talk.
Oh, Zara, why can't you talk? I hope everything's okay.
Like on Zoom.
No, I know, I'm just joking. I've just enabled your mic. So if you can't talk and you want to talk, just lift your hand and let me know. Yes, Zara, you can talk now. So do let me know what you want to say. I've unmuted your mic. Or anyone else for that matter. Any other suggestions on YouTube? So we had a very good suggestion by Ustadh Mariam Sadak on barbecue in the garden. Alhamdulillah, our YouTube comments are being taken over by the Sadaks, which is the great thing, mashallah. Maybe they would want to add a bit more. Anyone else? Or we can finish our chat right here. It's up to you, and we can start focusing on praying our Asr, inshallah. Anyone else? I think I'll give it another minute. If there's nothing else, then we will do that. What about people who believe in resurrection? Okay, I'll dismiss that for now. Yellow Moss, we'll come to that at some other point. I have not been looking at the chat. Forgive me for that, because I was focusing on the actual session. Okay, FEP. Okay, I will, when I get something to I just wanted to make sure. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I just wanted okay, that's fine. It doesn't matter if you're late. You can also watch these sessions because they are recorded. So you can go back onto YouTube, maybe after an hour or so when it's processed, you can watch it then. Fizza, you look like you're back online wanting to say something. Yes, Fizza.
Yeah. Are we going to do the presentations tomorrow then?
No, we'll have to then leave it till next week because because on Friday we have a session with someone else, one of my friends from Qatar, who's a teacher there. So he's going to be doing our Friday reflection about Eid. So that's that. Okay.
Jazakallah.
Barakallah. Yes, Zahra, you want to say something? Or Yellow Moss, you want to say something because you had your hand up. Yes, go for it.
Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, wa alaikum salam. You don't sound like Yellow Moss. Are you a different colored moss?
The suggestion.
Yeah.
You might want to be pink moss. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Or is it Ustadh Tahira speaking here?
Oh, yes, I'm speaking. You should do special things, special games for children on Eid day, please.
Where, on Zoom?
Now on online.
Online. Okay. Jazakallah for that. Jazakallah for that pink moss or Ustadh Tahira that you suggested that we should be doing various games on Eid day with children. So actually we can maybe do that. Maybe
and go out, we can, so you should give.
Inshallah, I'm happy to do that. Yeah, Jazakallah for that. So what we will do on Eid day, if everyone celebrates Eid on the same day, we will do it on that one day.
If it's not same day, then
we can do on both days.
Oh, thank you.
And then whoever's celebrating Eid on that day, then we can maybe have even if it's a 1 hour session for those who want to meet their friends on Zoom, they can do that. And also one of the suggestions that came before, that each family can organize their own Zoom sessions as well.
Oh, good.
So that's that there as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Ustadh Hamid.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. Zahra, yes, you have your hand up again.
Ustadh Hamid, can I just...
Oh my God.
Okay, Zahra, if you if Zahra can go first, and then we will go to Fizza. Yes, Zahra.
You know the PowerPoint?
Yep.
I'm actually doing it with Fizza and Ibrahim on Zoom.
Yeah, all right,
so
now.
we're doing it together. But
Oh, that's cool.
it's next week, right?
Yeah,
we're
inshallah.
gonna
It's going to
show
be
it.
next Wednesday then, next Wednesday.
Inshallah.
Okay, jazakallah for that. And make sure those who wanted to do it, couldn't do it, get your presentations ready as well. Okay, I think Fizza, did you have your hand up? And you want to say something? Yes, Fizza, go for it.
So I was gonna say, you know, if we do a Zoom meetup, or
Mhm.
if we do, maybe it can be like a bit later in the day, because obviously, like, I understand that some people will be doing it like online with their family, so
Yeah.
maybe it can be a bit later in the day, so everyone can actually see their family before they go to friends.
What time do you suggest, Ustadh Fizza? What time do you suggest? Maybe just as an idea.
Maybe about after, like,
Isha?
I don't know, Zahra, can you
Okay.
help me?
Yes, I can help you. Maybe like 1:15.
Okay, that's quite
Because
early in
that's
the
when the
day.
madrasa ends, like in the day.
Okay, so what we'll do is we might send out suggestions from parents and then see what a lot of the parents say. Yep.
We can have a poll.
Yep, we can have a poll. Absolutely, we can do that. We'll send that to parents and everyone else and all our. We've got a suggestion on YouTube. Suggestion is from Ustada Shahana, and she is saying that it's actually from Alina. So thank you, Alina. Alina said, send Eid cards and presents and do good drop to families. Have a barbecue and do Eid Salah with your family for a change in the house. Google Eid games and be ready for the day. I like that. Jazakallah for that, Alina. Some good suggestions there. Okay. Oh, you know what might be very interesting, actually? Imagine if all the family members decide to go out in their cars to drop Eid gifts and everyone does that at the same time. Wouldn't that be funny, right? You'll have everyone out dropping Eid gifts to everyone else's home and there's no one home. What do you students think about that scenario?
That's going to be so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wait,
maybe
how
you
are we
should.
going to social distance if we're dropping it at the houses at the same time?
If you're in different, you're going to be going to each other's homes. So just say you go to your auntie's house and your auntie comes to your house. Yeah.
Hamu,
Yes.
what if there's no supervision and someone can rob the presents before you get home?
Yes, exactly. So that's why maybe you might want to call the family from the car after you've done it, just to confirm. Yeah.
Okay.
Or you buy your Ringo, what's the doorbell? The one that you can see who's dropping it off.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
ring.
interesting. Yep, that's interesting. Interesting. But what I did suggest was maybe try and ring after you've left the present, so there's not that sadness of not hugging or meeting your family and friends. It's a difficult time. I mean, no one doubts that. It's very tough that, you know, people who you could be previously meet, people you could touch before, you could hug before, you're not allowed to do it. But you remember, you're doing it to protect them. That's the important thing to remember, that if you love your family, do what is best in this situation and be amongst those who are not going to take that ugly risk of putting people in harm's way. Alina is saying actually to drop food at each other's homes. Yeah, that's a nice suggestion. If you're cooking food, maybe have a bit for each other and drop food. Yes.
This is why we need to open a social distancing samosa factory.
Yes,
okay.
we do.
We need maybe you can have a session on just that at some point, inshallah.
Ustadh.
Yes, who is that? Yes, Zahra.
Zahra. Maybe like the cars can be driving like but in different lanes, and then they roll down their window and they say Eid Mubarak.
Yep, that could be
whilst
done.
everyone drives past.
Yep. I've seen online that there's this person who's made this see-through curtain, right? And he's made holes in it and he's made like plastic arms which are covering each other, and then one person goes on one side, the other person puts his arms
And they
through
hug each
and
other.
they hug each other.
other.
Yeah, I've
Yes.
seen it.
Some of you might want to build that outside your house. Okay, we've got some suggestions coming on YouTube. So we've got Ustada Maryam is back and in action, but she's saying that it's actually from MMK. So I'm thinking that's Muhammad Mustafa Khan. Some family members will stay at home and also confirm with relatives before you leave. Okay, that's a good idea. Thank you for that, Mustafa. Shahana, Ustada Shahana is back and she's saying, I would be interested to see how Christmas celebrations will look. At least in the heat, we can be outdoors. Absolutely, that's an interesting point as well. And remember, there may be a second wave. May Allah protect us and make this easy for us. There may be a second wave of this, so we may experience lockdown again after it opens in the winter, which is during Christmas as well, and we'll see how that impacts them. So let's move on. Anything else from anyone else before we stop our session? Yes, Jazakallah Hussein for that reminder. It's time for Asr. Yes. Yeah, go for it. Who's talking?
It's Fizza. Can I, you know, the link I sent in the chat, I've got the YouTube thing. Shall I copy and paste it into the YouTube chat? Because I've got the YouTube
yes,
chat on
please. If you could do that, that's actually better because this chat will disappear. And also, if you can do it on the live chat and also on the non-live chat, so on the normal video chat, okay? That will be, if you know how to do that, that's fine. So for those of you who joined us midway, our session today was a bit of a very short summary on the Constitution of Medina and what that was about. And the second thing we did after that was spoke about some people who may decide to break the social distancing rules and go out of their home and go into the homes of their family members and break social distancing rules, and also the logic behind not doing that. And then we spoke about people who think this whole situation is propaganda, it's a hoax. I then gave two suggestions. I look, either you think it's a hoax, either you think it's real. In both cases, right, and even if we do find out later on that it was a hoax, just say, right, in that case, would you want to be of those people who put their family at risk, or would you want to be from those who did not put their family at risk? This is key thing to remember. So apply social distancing throughout. Be strong on this. Don't let your emotions get into the way of preserving life, which is a command in Islam, that if someone saves one life, it's as though they've saved the whole of humanity. If someone kills one person, it's as though they have killed the whole of humanity. And this is something we as Muslims and humans in general need to take very, very seriously. I will take a last point from Zahra before we finish, inshallah. Or if anyone else needs to say anything, do let me know right now. Yes, Zahra.
Okay. Ustadh, you know the shirt you're wearing?
Oh, yes.
I want one of those.
Yes, inshallah. I actually made this at the beginning when we just as a trial. So what I'm going to do, inshallah, we will try and get more made. And we were actually supposed to do it during the 5-year celebrations, but we ran out of time. Yes, and the choir will get a specific choir shirt as a gift as well.
And the choir gift.
Yes, the choir people will get it. The choir gift will be the shirt with the choir logo on there on its own. How does that sound? Okay, anything else? Yes, Dania, you've got your hand up.
One, what there's a choir logo. And two, what I think I don't want to put any of my family at risk or in danger, so so what's best is stay at home. I will repeat myself, stay at home.
Absolutely. Thank you for that emphasis. Stay at home. Okay, that's the guidance that would have come, I believe, strongly from Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself to preserve life, which is key for us. Okay, now that we have gone over time quite a bit, but I think it was important that we heard everyone's suggestions. I think it's time to end our session. I hope did someone say Ustadh?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
I like your little mini hat in the background.
I like your mini hat in the background.
Yes.
This side?
Yes, that side.
Yep, this is a Rumi hat. Maulana Rumi's hat, but a small version. As you remember, I've got a bigger version, which I actually wear to madrasa sometimes.
What?
But it's
I like
that
the
high.
in the back.
Who said that? Who was being so rude to say
Metal.
that? Okay, let me show you a close-up. I think is this. Okay, let's show you a close-up. I think you may have to take your point back. But here it is.
Sorry, that was Hola.
Right, so
There's a mini.
so for saying that, Hola will need to join our choir on Monday mornings, inshallah, when she comes back, when our choir starts again. So Hola, you are going to be joining the choir on
You have to join the
Monday
choir
mornings.
Monday. I'll make sure she does Hamu.
Okay, Jazakallah. Okay, I think it's time now to end our session and focus on our Asr prayers, inshallah. And remember, it's key when we're praying our salah to focus. We pray as though it is our last prayer. And, you know, we try and connect as much as possible, have as much focus as we can for salah. And, you know, because at the end of the day, what's going to benefit us more than anything else we do is our acts of worship, our acts of kindness with one another. And our salah needs to be with utmost sincerity as possible. Utmost sincerity as possible. Why are we praying? Why are we doing it? So that's something that we need to focus on. That are we doing it as a tick box exercise? Are we doing it to show other people? Are we doing it because of our parents? Or actually, are we doing it because Allah has commanded us? Because Allah has said that salah is a way of communicating with Allah. Okay, or is it because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, he says that through salah we will gain salvation in the hereafter. In the hereafter, one of the first questions that will be asked will be our salah, will be our connection with Allah. So this is something that we need to maintain. This is something that we need to take serious, because if our salah is there, the rest of our Islam will be there. If our salah is not there, which is like a foundational, you know, amongst the foundations of our, or one of the pillars as well of our faith, if it's not there, then the building of our faith could come tumbling down. So may Allah give us the opportunity to do this. And I'm going to finish off on the point: to meet or not to meet your family this Eid. That is the question. And make sure that we stay home. Enjoy yourselves as much as you can in your own homes. Have barbecues in your gardens. Have, you know, fun games amongst yourselves. Don't do anything else other than that. Don't do any paperwork. Don't do anything else. And if you don't want to cook, order from outside, right? Just have fun amongst yourselves, enjoy yourselves, maybe pray Eid Salah if that's what your school of thought promotes and suggests. Do that, find out more about it. We will be talking about Eid Salah and how to perform it at home, inshallah, this Friday. So do let us, do let us know. So inshallah, do that at homes. So hopefully have a wonderful rest of the week, and we'll see you again during the rest of our sessions, and inshallah also on Friday when we have our Friday reflection, we have our Friday fiqh, and also our scouts. Maybe a few sessions may not go ahead on Friday because of Eid being in such close proximity. So I will have to end the session now. I'm not going to take any more questions or suggestions, only because this will then become the never-ending session. This will become the everlasting session, and we don't want that to happen. جزاك الله خيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. I know, Zahra, Allah is everlasting, but I hope you understood what I was trying to say. Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.